Hello, my name is Natalie and I am an events manager specialising in environmental education within the business conference sector. I'll be describing how the issues surrounding sustainability has impacted this sector and moulded it into what it has become today in 2038. Sustainability is often described as being split into three pillars: environmental, social and economic. While each pillar is crucial to any event's road to sustainability, this presentation will mainly focus on the environmental factors. Fenwick and Strick describe sustainability as maintaining the conditions under which humans and nature can exist in productive harmony, important in making sure that we have and will continue to have the water, materials and resources to protect human health and our environment. And with the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change stating in 2018 that if global warming is not limited to 1.5 degrees Celsius, there would be a rise in natural disasters. While it is known that IPCC are commercially published, the source is still credible and still an important message, backed by over 100 authors and co-authors. However, perhaps due to the commercialization of this publishing, it meant that unfortunately it was not taken seriously enough. Due to this, in 2038, oil, food and water resources are still highly regulated, having an effect on all industries and personal life. Although Raj and Walters acknowledge that worldwide problems cannot be solved by a single planning solution, a good place to make a change is within the business conference sector due to its impacts on social interaction, economic activity, environmental resources, human health and the environment. It's been widely acknowledged and also put into words by Paxson that environmental concern has shifted from being a good cause to an expectation, and this is now relevant to how we have built and renovated our event spaces. It is imperative that they are green, and in some cases this is taken literally. For example, buildings are covered in foliage for insulation, glass roofs have been installed to let in natural light, as well as them being sloped for natural air ventilation. This means air conditioning units are a thing of the past. Other ideas have been made into reality, such as wind turbines being at large convention centres. Not only are the buildings green, but also the events themselves. There is a definition within the Event Society and Sustainability book describing a green event as being designed, organised and implemented in a way that minimises negative environmental impact. While this term is relevant in 2013, when the book was written, it is not severe enough for 2038, but a great definition to grasp the gist of the term green event. As highlighted by Paxson in 2009 when he said sustainability issues will likely become a matter of legal concern as communities and governments around the world strengthen regulation regarding how businesses will be required to manage their environmental and social impacts. The government have gained such control over our environmental issues that causing negative impacts that could have been avoided results in fines and even business termination. As a result of this, green events are not the utopian image we have imagined. Green events being a legal requirement has meant there is no more luxury in the conference sector and there should only be necessity. Due to this, there is no longer a competitive edge when it comes to how elaborately conference centres are decorated. Minor details such as laundering heaps of tablecloths or watering non-native plants actually wasted a lot of water. Complex seating charts and site plans are no longer popular as signage is down to a minimum. Attendees now bring their own food to prevent unnecessary food wastage, and water fountains or reusable jugs are commonly the only source of drink available. While this may sound like a challenge within the industry, it has become a positive way in which companies are judged. The Future of Meetings report put it perfectly that we need to emphasise the role that meetings play in development and downplay the leisure aspect. Therefore, by taking conferences back to basics, conferences are actually now credited on their educational, social and professional impacts, rather than who can spend the most money on extravagant decor. By adapting to impending global issues in this way, it helps maintain competitive advantage. And this can also be done by moulding what issues we choose to cover in our conferences. It is recognised by Clement that corporate communications industry is one of the best catalysts for change, as we touch so many different audiences. And therefore, conferences are no longer just for the businessman or woman, but instead for whole communities. With the constant risk of reprimand for not being environmentally sustainable, communities come together to learn about how to make their towns eco-friendlier, increasing attendance from a wider audience. Topics range from new technologies to how to maximise growing space. Conventions have also created a networking space for people to figure out how to reuse resources, organise shared space, and many other environmentally friendly schemes. On the flip side of this, government regulation has meant wild travel is kept to a minimum and must be approved. Therefore, international conferences are no longer as they were in 2018. Paxton explained that conferences and meetings were an important sector of the tourism industry. Therefore, the termination of international conferences did not only result in the bankruptcy of many events companies, but also many tourist attractions, restaurants, bars, and entertainment complexes which were built around convention centres. As a result of this, the UK economy took a hit, resulting in a stretch in taxes and the general public having less disposable income. This again had a direct effect on the events industry, as entertainment events are now only for the extremely wealthy, and educational events must be free or have a very small ticket price. However, international conferences have not completely vanished. They have become a hybrid event of new technologies running alongside of what we know as a classic conference format of key speakers, seminars, and networking space. For example, international conferences will usually run from London, where the majority of businessmen and women are, and for those who are too far to travel, whether that being nationally or internationally, have live but ticketed access to the conference via technology. The use of this technology could be seen to improve on international conferences as, said by Tony Rogers, technology offers to generate a much wider audience and to facilitate the dissemination of ideas, knowledge, and expertise globally. This technology will also be accessible to anyone, as in 2038, 6G internet is on all devices. It was important to not get rid of these international conferences completely and allow space within these hybrid events to network, as Generation Y, who make up the majority of the workforce, still show a strong interest in making new contacts, meaning they will want to go to live conferences, as stated by Futures of Meetings. Technology and faster internet has allowed online discussions via programs such as Skype to be seamless and not take away from the conversations as they once did in 2018. In conclusion, while the government has a tighter grip on all decisions, the conference sector has adapted our buildings and resource use to ensure we have no carbon footprint, and shown the government that we are worth funding as we can facilitate a great and accessible space for educating the general public on environmental sustainability. Our international businesses rely on our industry to facilitate an online space for business deals and networking to ensure the UK does not lose all ties with our global businesses. While the leisure aspect of conferences have taken a hit, there has been a rise in community events as previously mentioned.